Okay.
7 p.m. Kalihi Pālama Neighborhood Board is in session. We're going to be starting off with Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, Firefighter 1, Rocky Silva, from Engine 6, Kalihi. The statistics provided are the confirmed incidents from the neighborhood board's geographical area for last month. For more details on the incidents and related mapping information, please visit the fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. If you have any questions, please email the HFD's Public Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. Okay, so there were a couple questions from last month regarding the fire on Banyan Street and Vineyard Boulevard. The fire is still under investigation. The call came in at 5:55 a.m. For building fire near 1128 Banyan Street. After searching for any occupants, then an aggressive fire attack. The fire was extinguished at 6:50 a.m. HFD also responded to a fire at 815 North Vineyard Boulevard, which was right behind the first location. That fire was extinguished at 7:15 a.m. There are no injuries or fatalities reported. And then the second question regarding the building construction of the homes on Banyan Street. Upon visiting the site and according to responding companies, the structure appeared to be of single wall construction. Now are the incident statistics for March of this year. Fires, we had 3 structure fires, 1 wildland fire, 10 nuisance fires, 1 cooking fire, and 10 activated alarms. We had 209 medical emergencies, 10 motor vehicle crashes, and 2 hazardous material incidents. And then the fire tips for this month. Ensure that you have an emergency preparedness plan in place for situations like environmental emergencies, fires, or natural disasters. Familiarize yourself with at least 2 escape routes from your home, and plan an evacuation plan if you must leave your neighborhood due to an emergency. For more information, visit fire.honolulu.gov, and then also try to leave early to avoid getting trapped by fire, smoke, or traffic delays. Set up a predetermined meeting spot like a trusted neighbor or relative's home, and then bring your own emergency kit with essential items for your family and pets. Pending any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the board online? Any questions from the community? Hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for all that you do. Please enjoy the pizza.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next is from Police Department District 1. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Ibanez and everyone in attendance. Again, Sergeant Pedro Rodriguez representing the Honolulu Police Department, D1 Community Area of Responsibility. Thank you for your time and patience. The information provided today represents total amount of cases within your area that we share. For more statistical information, you can go to the HPD public website at www.honolulupd.org to get more information. The statistical information for this month of March, for this month of April, 2025 is as follows. So we have 1 motor vehicle theft reported, which is still aligned with the previous month, which is also 1. We have no burglaries reported. We have 5 thefts reported, which is actually down from the 8 from the previous month. Unlawful entry into motor vehicles, we have 3, which is also down by 4 from the previous month. We have 2 assaults reported, which is also down from 5 on the previous month. We have no sex assault reports. We have no graffitis, which we had 1 the previous month. However, unfortunately, we have 4 drug-related incidences, which is up of 1 in the previous month. We have no criminal breaches to report at this time. Total calls for service, 406, which is up from last month, which was 308. A couple of things that I would like to bring up on a positive note is the night watch, and I can only speak for the night watch. we've been stepping up our enforcements along two parks which are near the Evile area, which is Ala Park and Veritania Community Park. This has brought the number of park closure violations down. Night Watch has conducted approximately 28 inspections last month and issued approximately 15 criminal citations. This is last month. This month, I can tell you that we continue to do the checks. However, I can only account for 6 citations that we have given. So that's in a plus. Also, another incident that I would like to bring up on a positive note was there was a burglary that occurred, a robbery that occurred on the 13th of April in the Evile area. This is in D5. The officers there responded, initiated the case, and investigated, and they got a possible suspect. On our side, D1, the next day, because we both districts responded to the incident. So there was no arrest made that time because the suspect fled. Further investigations through surveillance cameras yielded a suspect, which the District 5 officers responding put in their report. On our side, one of the officers knew of the possible suspect and that he is known to hang out in Ala Park. They found him, they located, positive ID was made, and that led to a successful arrest on that case. That was a robbery second, meaning they used force. And the victim, unfortunately, was 82 years old. So, upcoming events that we would like is, of course, Good Friday, which is Friday, it's a holiday, and the Easter Sunday, which is on the 20th. Due to these events, for the safety tip, we still stress for people, our neighbors, to continue to be vigilant and remain aware of their surroundings because of potentials, of course, of traffic and pedestrian incidences that still remain a concern for the department. Also, on a safety tip, there has been an uptick of e-bike incidences. So we ask the people to be vigilant also for those things. Please, please, please educate your children. Let everybody know about the limitations that they have with these e-bikes. They have to wear the proper equipment and they have to be in designated areas to ride them. Okay, we can only go so far. And we were just talking about this tonight in lineup. There are still laws that are still being tried to pass to bring these e-bikes along the same lines as mopeds and bicycles. So we would ask our neighbors, our people living nearby and around the island to please continue to educate your neighbors and your children. At this time, nothing else to report. I yield back the rest of my time and take any questions if you so have any.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes, sorry. Could you explain the e-bike, like what kind of incidents with the e-bikes?
Well,
Like crashes?
this is coming pretty much from an incident that was, I believe it was on the news in District 8. I don't have the exact information on it, but there was supposedly there was a ride that was originated by a certain group, and allegedly they had permissions to drive their e-bikes. And this is fine when it happens, but you know, again, youths, they take it upon themselves to take over the road and try to do wheelies. And it brought some people's attention, and there were arguments with pedestrians who were complaining, and police had to respond in full force in the District 8 area, which is Kapolei. This happened in Never Beach. But still, and everybody sees it. We see it when we drive around, the e-bikes, people trying to do wheelies. You see no helmet, no eye protection. Sometimes they're juveniles that shouldn't be on one driving them. Unfortunately, and everybody knows it, if a police officer on patrol attempts to execute a traffic stop on these kids, because they are kids, there are most of them are below the age of 18, they'll take off on us. So you either fight or flight is what they think of. They take off, and we're not gonna cause an accident just on a bicycle e-bike violation. And that's the one thing that we are not willing to do. So that's why we're asking people to educate their children and other people on the limitations of these bikes and to abide by the laws. E-bikes are a good They are a good modes of transportation, if you want to say that, but everybody has to adhere to the law. And this is random around the island. It's not just in Kapolei, it's everywhere.
Thank you, officer. Any more questions from the board? No? Any questions from the community? Just one further comment, officer. Thank you so much for all that you do. And please tell all the men and women in blue everything that you have to witness, go through, and process every single day. Thank you for all your hard work. So please share that with command. Furthermore, for the e-bikes and other people that are utilizing whatever they're doing, at the end of the day, it's about safety. And it looks really cool when they're doing wheelies without a helmet. But the moment their head hits the pavement at whatever miles per hour they're going, it's an emergency. And hopefully they can make it to the ER and make it home. So thank you so much for sharing those tidbits of information and ultimately to save a life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move along. Honolulu Police Department, District 5.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes.
Hi, this is Lieutenant Kratin Hachiko again with District 5. I'm one of the nighttime commanders. Let me give you the statistics for the month of March. There were 9 aggravated assaults, 13 auto thefts, 9 burglaries, 3 robberies, no sex assaults, 9 simple assaults, 43 simple thefts, and 6 thefts from vehicles. You guys had 2,935 calls for service, which almost matches last month's amount of calls, which was 2,934. In looking through the cases that we cited, a number of the burglaries were due to the burglar being able to defeat louvered windows. And unfortunately, that's a very popular construction in Hawaii. What I would suggest is if you have louvered windows, go to City Mill or Home Depot. They have these clips that lock the glass into the different holders. And that'll help deter a little bit. Cracking the louver is easy, but what we want to do is we want to harden our homes so that it doesn't look like a good choice to the burglar. They're going to find something easier. So along that same idea, a lot of times if you make an assessment of your home. If you walk around your home, you notice that you have a lot of ways that a person can place a chair, place a table up against a wall to get access to a window. We might want to think about being able to limit access to those kinds of things. Like I've seen people chain the tables into the garage so that it cannot be carried around the side of the house or that sort of thing. And also chaining up the folding chairs when they're not being used, or locking them in a closet, something like that. Because we had a number of the burglaries where the homeowner found the chair or table propped up against the house next to the open louvered window. We also, let's see, auto thefts are up at the time, and this is something that is island-wide, and a number of them are occurring even with keys taken. Sometimes keys are left in vehicles. Sometimes doors are unlocked. We want people to be cognizant of your key situation. In the event that there is, you might have heard there's something called a booster box, whereby someone can boost the signal of a key for a house to unlock the vehicle outside. That's something that does exist. We've seen evidence of it being in use in District 8. We have video of it. But I haven't seen anything in District 5 to indicate that we have anything like that. But what I did at my own home, I live in Waiwa, is I got what they call a Faraday bag, which runs very cheap now. What it does is it blocks the signal from the key fob, so that when I go home and I'm securing my house for the night, I make sure all of our key fobs are in the Faraday bag so that it can be boosted. So that's one thing you guys can also look at. Our tip for the month, we want everybody to make sure that we're not driving distracted. I notice a lot of people are being very good about putting their cell phones in holders rather than having them in their hands when they're driving. But with the current crop of cars that we have, with the screens and the different information that the car provides, sometimes it's easy to get distracted while you're driving, either changing a channel or trying to monitor the different functions of your vehicle. Even my officers get reminded every day about their paying attention to their driving and their surroundings. And the department just wants to make sure that we keep that foremost in people's minds. I'll open up now to any questions or concerns.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community? Thank you, officers, so much for all that you do. Again, for the men and women in blue, thank you for all the time and dedication. You guys go through so much every single day. So again, thank you for your service.
Thank you, ma'am. You guys have a good evening.
You too, stay
you, ma'am.
safe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. We're gonna move on with the Board of Water Supply, Iris Oda.
Hi, Iris.
Hi, yes.
Thanks. Hello.
Here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hello. I'm glad to be here tonight. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry I'm a little late.
No worries.
Okay, this is really nice. Thank you. So I have, I usually give information about our main breaks, and we did have 3 in March in your neighborhood board area. Let's see, March 2nd, it's near 455 Coquia Street. On March 22nd, near 815 North Vineyard Boulevard. And on the 21st, there was a near 1901 Kalihi highway. So I left some for the secretary. Yeah. No, there's extra there. And when I was passing out, so that's my announcement for the main breaks. And then I just have 2 quick general announcements. So I'm passing around this flyer, and sorry to give you guys some, but it's on the table. It's a Detect the Leak week. It started on the 13th, and it ends on the 19th of this week. So the closing, you can go to the closing event, which will be on Friday, April 19th at Pālama. It's from 11 to 1 at Center Court. So basically, chase down and repair those pesky leaks during this annual Detect the Leak Week campaign. And you joined the Board of Water Supply and Hardware Hawaii. And we had 2 events, so I just mentioned the second event. The first one was at Pearl Ridge back on April 13th. So you go on the 19th at Friday, and you can stop by for hands-on leak detection tips, toilet leak detection dye tablets, interactive activities, and swag, plus chances to win prizes. So let's work together to make every drop count. You can also go to boardofwatersupply.com /DALW, Detect the Leak Week. And the second announcement is something you might have heard on the news too. It's for the city. The Honolulu City County has launched the HNL Alert. So it's a new mass notification system that provides residents and visitors information about severe weather, emergencies, and other situations. And that's affecting city services. You get it via text, push notifications, or email. So HNL Alerts replaces the city's current HNL.info notification system. So there's 2 ways to sign up. You can get customized alerts, create an account at hnlalert.gov, select your preferred topics, and receive notifications via text, email, or push notifications in that app. Or for urgent alerts only, if you don't want to register, you can text HNL ALERT, HNL Alert, and you type it and you put in 888-7777. You can get critical safety alerts by text. And like I said, there's no registration needed. And you can also go to honolulu.gov/DM for more information. And that was the little red and black cards that I passed around. And I'll provide it to the neighborhood board after to put it on the Google Drive. So keep the cards for yourselves.
Yeah.
And if there's any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Just a quick question.
Go ahead, Eric.
So, it's kind of 2-parter. One, do you guys still do the rain barrel rebate? And then, are there other rebates that that are available to homeowners?
Yes, there is, if you go to the boardwatersupply.com site and you look up the rebates, there's toilet rebates, if there's still funding money, it renews every fiscal year.
Okay.
Toilet rebates, repo, I should know off the top of my head, but yeah, there is.
Okay.
I can give you some information next month.
Okay.
On the website.
Yeah, but definitely go to the website and see what more is there. Under conservation or rebates.
Any other questions for the board? Any questions from the community? Online? Hearing none. Thank you so much, Iris.
Thank you, it's nice to be here.
Nice to see you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Next, we're moving along to Home Authority for Rapid Transit, Marissa Gonzalez.
Hi, this is Gab.
Gabby.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, good evening, Chair Ibanez, board members and community members. I'm Gabby with the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transit. With me tonight is Tara Kanashiro from our Dillingham Utilities Relocation Contractor Non-Inc. and Patrick Watson from our Downtown Utility Relocation Contractor, Frank V. Coluccio. So for our first update, for construction, it's pretty standard with the utility relocations in downtown and Dillingham ongoing. It includes work on traffic signal installation, gas, electrical, jet grouting, and the City Center Guideway and Stations project is doing geotechnical exploratory boring right now. So that's for construction. For our second update, Hart is going to be at the Career Expo at the Blaisdell on Wednesday, April 30th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can learn about our job openings that we have, some of which include IT support technician, personal assistant, transit contract specialist, as well as engineering and environmental internships. We also posted these listings recently and a few other openings on our website. So if you're interested in joining our Heart Ohana, click the link that I will put shortly in the chat or email your resume and a short write-up of which positions you're interested in to harthr@honolulu.gov. I'll put this info in the chat. For our last update, we have our virtual business and community meeting coming up next week, Thursday, on April 24th at 1 p.m. It's going to be held via WebEx. So here, our contractors will present their own project updates, and you can speak with them directly for any questions that you may have. They do updates on things like specifics of what the utilities that they're working on, any road closures, things like that. So I'll put the link in the chat for our E&C meeting. So now on to questions we received during the March Neighborhood Board. The first question was about if vibratory drilling is being used. Currently on Dillingham, we are not doing this kind of drilling for our geotechnical exploratory boring. In the exploratory boring, we're basically drilling a 6-inch hole into the ground. The drill has a hollow drill bit, and then the drill bit takes a cylinder sample out of the ground. This has minimal impact to the surrounding area. So the second question we received is, what is HART's plan for sea level rising in regards to our project? So during the design phase, we took the flood risk areas into consideration, and the whole rail was designed to minimize impact for flood risk in appropriate areas. You can also contact the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resilience for information on how the city is planning and dealing with flood issues. Their phone number is 808-768-2277, and I'll put the number in the chat. The third question we received is if Skyline plans to change the train speed in response to the city audit. In the audit, it was found that traveling by car is quicker than riding the rail. This question can be directed to Skyline since they are in charge of operation and maintenance, and HART is strictly in charge of construction. So Skyline's phone number is 808-848-5555 and option number 4. and I'll put their number in and email in the chat. So the last question that we received was if HART consults disabled communities to ensure that the rail is accessible to them. And yes, we do during system demonstration, which is a testing phase of the rail and its systems before we turn the assets over to DTS. So during system demonstration, HART meets with the organization Sea Fodder, or Citizens for a Fair ADA Ride. And we have them test the facilities before opening to ensure that they can access things like the fare gate, the elevated guideway and stations, board the rail, move around in the carts, and more. So we do this concludes my presentation. If you would like to get in contact with us at HART, you can email us at info@honolulutransit.org or call the project hotline at 808-566-2299. I'll put this information in the chat, and now I can open the floor up to any questions.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community?
Before I want the
No, just
first,
first.
first. Okay. It's regarding about the ADA. I understand that HART is trying to be ADA compliant. My concern is it's not just compliant, it's accessible. It's a weird wording that I like to say, but just because it's compliant doesn't mean it's that accessible. Looking at the high skyline up at Kalihi Transit Center, it looks like the elevator is placed on the other side of the road instead of having like two elevators, if that makes sense. So it makes the time much longer for people like that are in wheelchairs or people that are physically disabled that have a hard time walking. It's harder for them to get to the train. It may take 5 minutes longer. Many people might say 5 minutes longer is not that long, but for many of us that are trying to get on rush to the rail or trying to get onto the bus, 5 minutes is a lot of time. It's a very long time. So that's why I'm not trying to change for Kalihi Transit Center to change, but rather for future planning, we want to try and make sure that we have the same amount of time for disabled communities to get onto transportation just as able-bodied people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for that. So we do have community input for the station design. Sorry, I didn't say the design. For the stations. We haven't set a date yet. I will come back to you guys and report when the station outreach meeting is set. And you can join and voice your concerns. But I will take that back to our design team.
Since we're talking about design, as the rail is going to be moving towards and through a very highly densified urban core, we also have to make sure that people have a restroom to use. Because we're not living in reality if we think that thousands of people who are anticipated to use, thousands and thousands of people a day, will not have to empty their bladder. It's just a natural bodily function. We're not upset at anybody for being human, so we shouldn't penalize people. We want the rail stations to stay as pristine and nice and clean and hygienic as long as possible. So moving forward and through Honolulu urban core, can you please request that bathrooms are installed at the rail stations?
Yep, I
You
can
take
touch
that.
it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any further questions from the board? Anything from the community? Hearing none, thank you so much. Please take that back. Thank you, Gabby.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so we're gonna move along to presentations. Limited to maximum 10-minute presentation. We're gonna start off with Keelan, City and County Honolulu DTS.
Aloha, Chair Dennis and board members. I am going
Aloha.
to my with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Can you see that?
Yes.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Kaylin. I am a planner team at the student.
Your internet is cutting in and out, so it sounds like a really bad fast food through speaker. I can hear you, but try to start over again or something up with your Wi-Fi. Yeah, you're cut off.
Is that better?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Very much.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for having me. I'm here tonight to talk about our Kalihi Walkways project. So first I'll do a quick overview of what Complete Streets are. Complete Streets is a road event that provides safe facilities for people of all ages and abilities, whether they're walking, using a wheelchair, a bike, riding transit, or in a car. It also says that there are other functions to a street outside of just transportation, that there are places for businesses to welcome customers, neighbors to get to know each other, kids to play, and ecosystems for people. And this is kind of a generic image of what Complete Streets looks like in more of an urban setting, but they can depending on the context of the neighborhood. So Honolulu has a Complete Streets law, which was passed back in 2012. Basically, it says that we must consider complete streets and design our roads for all roadway users every time we touch a transportation facility, whether
It's chopping.
Yeah, you're we can't hear you, your speaker. It's choppy.
Oh.
And now it's silent. Okay.
Okay, let me. Can I take a pause, and then if you move on to the next presentation, I'll try and grab a headphones or something and maybe fix this.
Sure, we'll move on to the next presentation. We'll circle back.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, no problem. So next presentation is from McKinley High School, Senior Project Community Emergency Preparedness Presentation. You want to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tuan, and this is Ariana Ash. We're from the McKinley High School CTO Youth Project Team here to prepare. Thank you so much for allowing us to come here and share your project with you. We're part of Center for Tomorrow's Leader, or CTL, a local nonprofit where students not only learn about leadership, but they also put into action by doing projects that address real community issues. So one major problem that we found that many people in Hawaii aren't prepared for any natural disaster or emergency, leaving our community at risk.
According to our research, only 11.5% of all households in the community of Honolulu have enough supplies to last just 14 days. This means that 88.5% of all of Honolulu is unprepared, leaving them vulnerable when disaster strikes. Now, there are plenty of resources available, but simply having information is never enough. It takes people who care to prepare. Back in the day, every household had a copy of the yellow and white pages. This contained emergency contacts and important phone numbers. However, today, those resources are long gone, and families don't know where to go when it matters most.
What happens if Wi-Fi is off and we lose internet access? During an emergency, people rely on internet access to search up emergency contact, but during a disaster, that might not be an option. That's why we created a handy flyers with quick, reliable resources with essential emergency preparedness information families need. This included a 14-day survival kits and key emergency contacts such as HAIMA, HICO, and the Disability and Communication Access Program. What is our plan? From March to April, we're planning to present our ideas to the neighborhood boards and other social networks. And also, we were preparing a 3-minute videos or documentaries on our journey to the public.
Nice.
To get this information directly to household, where we're going from home across Oahu, passing out flyers to families so they can get immediate access to this critical information.
What can you do to help? If you want to assist in distributing our flyer, we have actually brought some here with us for you tonight. Or we can email you a PDF file for you to print and share. Furthermore, if you could simply share our cause with your neighborhoods, letting them know how severe this problem truly is, so that we can begin to foster a culture of preparedness.
Our mission is to help people of Oahu to be prepared for an emergency by sharing them with easy steps, useful resources, and the importance of being prepared. Our goal is to make sure everyone take action now and stay safe later.
Our vision is to get all of Oahu to care, prepare, and stay ready for any disaster. I'm actually not originally from Hawaii. I'm from Texas, where my family has lived on the coast for generations. So in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina hit, they suffered immense damage and loss. I mean, hearing their stories was truly just devastating. They faced injury, illness, even starvation at one point, and they didn't know where to go or who to turn to. Luckily today, they are all alive and well, and prepared for whatever may come next. However, they always tell me how they wish they would have acted before so they would have known what to do during. We pray for clear skies. However, it is an unfortunate truth that disaster happens. And when you think of events like Hurricane Katrina or even Lahaina, you begin to wonder how different things could have truly been if they had cared to prepare. If you have any questions or want to learn more, please feel free to reach out to our CTL facilitator, Ms. Joy Yoshida, at joyoshida@ctlhawaii.org. Thank you!
Any questions from the board?
That's just a comment. I thought it was really good. You guys did really well. And I like how this is like even for people that don't speak English necessarily, the pictures are really helpful. I thought that was really thoughtful by you guys. So thank you.
I have one critique. Excellent job, nonetheless. Thank you so much for coming here. Please do come back again. There is more information for assistance, so I'm going to add that to this list, of which is Salvation Army. They do mental health, they do housing, they do food. The phone number, you might want to write this down. For an emergency line, they coordinate very well with the American Red Cross. So in the event that there is an emergency, like a tsunami, a hurricane, whatever that could be, a flood, no matter what, the phone number for Salvation Army for the emergency hotline is 808-841-5565. Again, they do housing, mental health, food, clothing, anything a person might readily need. And again, they coordinate very well and closely with the American Red Cross, so that's just one additional.
We're also thinking of resources that teach people how to swim. Because we realize that is also a very big issue, especially for flood or hurricane.
YMCA and the YWCA has a lot of life-saving programs to help anybody to swim, first timers. So YMCA and the YWCA.
Sure.
I'm just kidding. So thank you so much, please do come back again.
Oh, no.
That's excellent. Yeah, so go right ahead. So just one other thing too is I know you also have radio, but something also to just kind of take a look at is those hand crank radios, because if you run out of power or batteries, those hand crank radios work pretty well. You know, at least you get the information out. So at least if something is coming off on those frequencies that is trying to reach everybody on there, at least that can help coordinate to where supplies are, where those points are. So there's something to think about.
Yeah, I'm interested for you to come back again and really go over every one, because documents, what is that? Social Security card, birth certificate, medical documentation, a medical bracelet, the medication that's ready to go, any kind of doctor's orders or DND or other kind of things that, you know, we have a lot of people, multi-generational households. We want to make sure that it is in a designated area and teaching our community that. So please do come back again, and then we can go over each one. Go ahead, Curtis.
Wonder what's up, Joy, y'all. My question is there a specific population that you guys want to target with? Like, do you want to focus on youth? Do you want to focus on multi-generational homes, low-income housing?
We were really targeting all of Oahu if possible, but in a more realistic standpoint, youth are the ones who tend to kind of push their family to do more things. So if a youth comes home and they have the information, they tell mom and dad, they get prepared. So I think when we made this, we had people our age in mind.
Excellent.
Sorry, hopping on that. So you say you're trying to reach the youth. You guys have social media platforms too?
Yes.
I would love to watch your TikTok because you are so animated. I'm like waiting.
And they also pointed out that you guys even take this, so it's strong.
so
arm.
Yes, y'all are
Oh my God.
so akamai.
I want my son to be like you guys.
So please do come back again.
Thank
and
you so much.
More information is wonderful to see this generation reaching out and trying to help everyone, to get everybody prepared. At the end of the day, it's everybody's lives and safety that is in mind. So thank you so much.
Love it.
Excellent.
Thank you. Come back, please.
So we're gonna, okay, Keelan, are you ready? Keelan, are you ready?
Hi, yes, I think I'm ready now. Sorry about that again.
You can start off where you left off.
Okay, great. Let me show. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, you okay, girl. You did.
Great.
Okay, start with me.
Okay, so we began work on our Kalihi Walkways project this past fall, back in 2024 of fall. It was part of a package of 6 different sidewalk projects in different areas across the island. And we know there's been tremendous need and demand for better sidewalks on Oahu, but there has never been funding dedicated for this purpose. So we're super excited to have established funding for this program and to work with you to finally install this important pedestrian infrastructure that's for so. So the project proposes to improve pedestrian safety and accessibility in 3 project areas in Kalihi. The first includes Gulick Avenue between King and Pool, so these are the areas highlighted in purple on the map, as well as Beckley Street between Gulick and Kalihi. The second area is Pālama Street between North King Street and Vineyard Boulevard, and Kanoa Street between Pālama and Pua Lane. And the third area is Pu'uhale Road between Nimitz Highway and Dillingham Boulevard. These streets were selected for this project as they were identified in the Oahu pedestrian plan as highest need sidewalk gaps. They were ranked highest priority because of their proximity to schools, their crash history, their access to bus routes, and their connectivity to major streets, parks, and other neighborhood destinations. So this slide highlights crash data from our project corridors between 2015 and 2022. As shown in the pie charts, pedestrians and bicyclists were involved in about 20% of all crashes, but they accounted for 38% of crashes that resulted in injuries. So this shows that when a crash involves someone walking or biking, the chances of injury are significantly higher. And among the corridors, Gulick Avenue had the highest number of injury crashes with 26 incidents recorded. So if we take a closer look at the Gulick and Beckley corridors, we can see that the sidewalks are very fragmented. In the map, the orange lines are where existing sidewalks are right now. And these corridors include Kalihi Diana Elementary School and Barrington High School, which have almost 3,000 students combined. The crash map on the right shows that there's a high density of crashes at the signalized intersections on each end of Gulick, at King and at School Streets, as well as injury crashes all along the length of Gulick. And these are symbolized by these dots. The different colors represent which mode of transportation was involved in the crash. We also collect speed data on Gulick, and it was revealed that there is a significant speeding issue there. We saw that there are over 100 cars per day going over 50 miles per hour, essentially freeway speeds in this residential school zone. And so if we move to Pālama Street and Kanoa Street corridors, we can see that they're almost entirely missing sidewalks on these segments. They include Kaiulani Elementary School on the King Street side and Ukealike Elementary School closer to Vineyard, as well as Honolulu Community College for the Makai and Pālama settlement on Vineyard as well. We see similar crash trends as Gulick, where the highest density of crashes is at the signalized intersections. So in this case, it's Pālama and King and Pālama and Vineyard. And lastly, on Pu'uhale, you can see there are also a lack of continuous sidewalks. The notable facilities in the area include Pu'uhale Elementary School in the bottom right. On the top left, we have Oahu Community Correctional Center. And we also have the new Mokuea Dillingham Skyline Station, just 1 block away at Dillingham and Mokuea. And the highest crash density is at Pu'uhale and Nimitz, similar to our other corridors. This is a signalized intersection too. So the safety concerns in the area include missing sidewalks, which force pedestrians to walk in the road alongside moving traffic. There are also missing crosswalks, a lack of shade trees, and poor lighting at night. There are also, we've seen a lot of cars parked, like this example here on Gulick, where they are directly in the way of walkways, and this also will force pedestrians to walk in the streets or kind of navigate around them. So unsafe pedestrian conditions near elementary schools are especially dangerous because our keiki are more vulnerable and can be harder to see. Also, when walking conditions are unsafe, it often discourages parents from allowing their children to walk to school, leading to less physical activity and independence and higher rates of school absenteeism. So we need safe and accessible routes for people of all ages and abilities using all different types of transportation modes. And how do we create safe streets for all users? So the solution is twofold. The first part of it is providing dedicated and protected facilities for non-vehicular travel. So this can come in the form of sidewalks and bike lanes, providing that space. And the second is limiting opportunities for speeding where it is occurring. So in the graphic, you can see if you're walking and are hit by a car going around 20 miles per hour, you have about a 90% chance of survival. However, if you're walking and are hit by that same car that's going just over double the speed at 45 miles per hour, your chances are reduced down to 10% of survival. So the fatality rate increases exponentially as speeds increase. So now I'll show some of the tools that we're considering using as part of the project. The first is on the left, raised crosswalks, specifically at the right turn slip lanes, like this example in Waikiki. We're also looking at signed and marked crosswalks, both signing and marking better at existing and at new locations too. We're also considering different types of sidewalk installations depending on the context of the street. Some areas propose at-grade sidewalks, while areas with existing curbs propose raised sidewalks, like the example that's already out there on Gulick Avenue in front of the school. And we're looking at curb extensions, which help reduce the length of a pedestrian crossing and make them more visible, as well as speed humps and tables that can reduce speed down to 15 to 20 miles per hour. We are considering traffic circles. These are proven to reduce intersection collisions by more than 70%, mainly because they force drivers to slow down and yield to circulating traffic, minimizing the risk of head-on and right-angle crashes. And we are also looking at planting street trees to help offer more shade and lower temperatures. And so we've drafted some preliminary concepts, which we posted on our website for community input. Each concept provides a few different options of what the street could look like, so we encourage you to review and let us know what you like best. On Gulick Avenue, we're looking to fill in sidewalk gaps on both sides of the street, so that's represented by the orange dotted line in the graphic. And as there are speeding issues, we're also looking to install traffic calming features like speed tables, traffic circles, and curb extensions. And on Beckley Street, we're mainly considering filling in sidewalk gaps on the Malka side of the street, and also looking to lower the roadway's elevation in a future repaving so that curbs will be higher and cars won't be able to park on top of the sidewalks. And on Pālama, we're looking to construct sidewalks on the majority of both sides of the street where there is sufficient right-of-way width. On Canoa Street, we're looking at a few different options, including sidewalks on both sides or just one side of the street with different parking configurations as well. On Pu'uhale Road, we're proposing to install a continuous sidewalk on the Diamond Head side of the road, and travel lane reconfiguration closer to the OCC section that will reduce the travel lanes down to 2 from 3. And we're also considering a raised crosswalk connecting the new sidewalk to the Nimitz intersection traffic signal and better delineation of the right turn at Nimitz as well on the Eva side of the street. And so we need your input to make sure the project responds to the needs of all users in the community. As mentioned, we posted them on our website, and I'll post in the next slide, I'll have the website, and I can also add it to the chat. We are also open to having an additional standalone meeting with the Transportation Committee if you have one, to go over the concepts together in more detail. And this time at the bottom, we are right in the middle right now at the beginning stages of community outreach and feedback. Thank you very much for your time. Please let me know if you have any questions. And this is the website where our concept plans are.
Ooh, any questions from the board?
Just comment.
Go ahead.
Can I request that along with, in addition to your stats, can you guys add those pets and how they also get hit on the roads due to no sidewalks and speeding, please?
Pets, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard that before. I'm not sure how we can collect that data, but I'll definitely bring it up and bring it back.
Probably you can ask, well, I'm pretty sure they report it through HPD. I myself, I also had my pet that ran over on my street, which is why I'm very gung-ho about the sidewalks and also the speed humps on my street, on Beckley Street. So it would be good to spread more awareness about not just pedestrians being at risk, it's also pets that roam the area.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Keelan, I have one suggestion, and I'll get to you, Kurtz. For the area of from Hoftailing all the way to Pālama, School Street, that area, I'm telling you, in the morning, people are going 40 to 50 miles per hour. Someone's gonna get really hurt one of these days. So if there can be, please, some kind of research, some kind of study, hopefully before somebody gets hit and a fatality, because they do go very quickly down there. I get it. It's a speedway that doesn't have any stoplights, so people are trying to make up the extra time. But that extra time could mean seconds, like you said. The faster you go, the more likely it's going to be a fatality. So if we can get ahead of that, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion. Card you have?
No.
I just
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just clarify, that was Hoftailing Street that you are talking about?
Okay. Hoftailing and School Street all the way to Pālama.
Along School Street. Okay. Good.
Hoftailing and School Street intersection of there, all the way to Pālama.
Okay.
It's a speedway, and there needs to be some study done before somebody gets very seriously injured, up to and including mocking. And that could be prevented, so please, if you can, please look into that. Lloyd, you had something?
Just to add on to like suggestions of like the raised crosswalks, like the ones on Nimitz, by the time you have the crosswalk on like the raised, there should be like signs, slow down signs and all that kind of stuff, because by the time you're there, you're like, it doesn't make sense. There's a crosswalk after, but if there's more things supplementing that, that'd be great.
Double checking, because I don't want to I may be like wrong, but there's no work gonna be created on like Pālama Street and North King Street, right? No, there's gonna be no work for the complete streets there.
I don't know, you can ask Kate.
Pālama and King Street is involved. It's within our scope. Yep.
Okay, that intersection, right?
Mhm.
The whole street. Okay, the whole North King Street. There is a houseless encampment in St. Elizabeth's Episcopal Church and Kapili Church. I'm curious if that houseless encampment is going to be affected with that development, and if so, will police be involved?
Outside of surgery.
It's not in their jurisdiction. Okay.
Yeah, it's another question for
HPD or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do know that with walkways, HPD can better enforce sidewalk, the sit-lie ordinance there when they are concrete sidewalks versus the unimproved sidewalks that they are right now.
Okay.
That makes
good.
sense. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I just had two questions. Actually, one comment first and then a question. So, one of the questions I had was, though it wasn't mentioned, use of like four-way type stops, but in a three-way, instead of a four-lane stop, something that's like a three-way. Something like that, I think for those areas, I don't know if that's possible or not, but an example where I was trying to get a four-way stop was North King Street and Kalihi Street, right where Farrington is.
Yeah.
You got about 1,800 students there leaving at one time. And then you got those who are walking and you got those who are trying to get on a bus. And sometimes that bus is not going to wait for those students. They're just going to take off. And they'll see the students across the other side. And I know this isn't really your department, but when we look at from the whole concept of complete streets and why from the safety portion, maybe that's something you guys want to consider if it falls under DTS and you have to play with that. Because of the fact that you have 1,800 students, not all high schools, sometimes it's middle school, so that could also fit into safe routes to school as well. So just something to kind of consider. It doesn't have to be all the time as a four-way, but just in the beginning in the morning, and then like when the bell rings or whatever, when a certain amount of time from when school ends to like an hour or so, something like that, just to allow people to get where they need to, especially students if you want them to walk, and also something to consider for holiday. The question I had was, you brought up trees. I remember this conversation before about the trees. If they're installed, will that then become DFN's problem, or before they want the community to take care of it? So that's why I'm asking this question. This was years and years ago I remember recalling this. So I just wanted some clarification on that.
Yes, once they're planted, it is up to DFM General to maintain them. We have been working with the Department of Parks and Rec Division of Urban Forestry as well to help us where they can with maintenance and plantings. We may, as part of the project, execute the landscape buffers and construct those, and then DP or Parks and Rec will come in afterwards with tree plantings. So we're trying to kind of use all of the resources that we can at the city for maintenance. And I know that Parks and Rec also does rely on schools and community members to help out with the maintenance, especially early on when they're younger and smaller.
Keelan, one last thing, I'm gonna jump off of that.
Yeah.
Can we make sure that the plants that are being planted are native?
Yeah, I can for sure make note of that.
And my wish list would be, if I had everything in my dream, that you work with the botanical gardens for those species that are endangered, that we nurture that native species and work with the botanical gardens in conjunction with them to also educate and walk through that. You'll have a whole corridor full of culture and history, and everything has meaning in my perfect world. Can that be done?
Adding on, is there a way to make sure that those plants are non-pollinated, if that makes sense? Because a lot of people could have allergies.
Isn't that have to do with the masculine, feminine trees? It's the same thing,
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Kaden. Any questions from the community?
Yeah.
Please have a seat.
Please sit here.
Have a seat and then just share your name. This is for the record.
My name is Jamie Harvey Silva. You talked about the sidewalks there on Beckley and going Gulick. And you talked about people speeding over the speed limit. I've never seen you guys do any survey or any type of speeding to see how fast people are going. And then you talk about you lowering the asphalt down on Beckley and raising the, what do you call that? The curbs. Beckley is a very small street. Now, if you lower the road down, how is the water gonna move? So you either have to raise it, but then the people in Beckley can't park anymore. It's a tight little street. I know you guys are all about improving, the sidewalk and stuff, but you guys need to do a better surveying and doing things before you guys just go ahead and do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good point to bring up. The very lowering, I guess, wouldn't actually be part of our project. It would be part of a future repaving. So once the condition of Beckley Street gets to a lower level, then the Department of Design and Construction will repave it. And at that point, we would lower it, but we would have to consider the parking at that time too. But I'll make note of your concerns of parking there because it is a narrow section.
You can't lower the asphalt. It's a long way from one end of Beckley to the other end. And I don't think our city or state have money to actually do that. In fact, there's construction going on right there that already damaged all the curbs and the asphalt. So what are you guys gonna do? I mean, you talk about all these kids coming home from Farrington and whatnot, and you get construction going on. I mean, what's the safety there?
Mm-hmm. We just want to provide, I think the point of the lowering would be to ensure that the walkways are not being blocked by cars so that kids traveling to and from school can get to and from safely, and they have good accessibility through those walkways.
They already have safety. I mean, kids can't walk along the sidewalk over there. I mean, the cars barely park on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can monitoring it.
Right. Make sure you do your guys' job before you guys do anything.
Thank you so much.
Curtis.
Thank you.
Has a question.
Is Curtis online?
Yes, I second the gentleman's comments regarding Beckley Street. At the intersection of Beckley and Kalihi Street by Farrington High School, when it rains, the drainage is pretty poor. So that's something that DTS should look at because that's not only a safety issue, but also it just creates a hazardous environment for pedestrians and drivers who travel the area. In terms of DTS's complete streets plan, I was wondering, I mean, especially after Hawaii News Now shared a story regarding speed humps. So speed humps do, it looks like the data shows that speed humps reduce crashes, but it may be slowing emergency services response times. So I was wondering if DTS has considered, and I put this in the WebEx chat, speed cushions, which essentially mimic what speed humps raised crosswalks do, but it would allow for these emergency vehicles to pass through without reducing their speed because every second counts when there's a medical or police emergency. And also, I'm pretty sure during the presentation, there was mentioning of planting street trees or something like that. I was just wondering if DTS could look at making sure that these trees do not after they're planted nearby the sidewalk, the roadway, that it doesn't affect the roadway in the future, because I notice in various neighborhoods, whether it's Makakilo Drive or University Avenue, that the trees that are planted on the roadway, they're really nice, but the tree roots over time, they grow, and then they uplift the sidewalk, they uplift the roadway, and we saw that on Alakawa Street, where I think the city recently did repairs nearby Home Depot, where the sidewalk was uplifted, and finally they got that smoothed out. So I would just caution the planting of trees, that it be done in a way where it doesn't uplift the sidewalk or the roadway. Thank you.
Thank you. Noted. And just to respond to your point on the cushions, we have with PD, HFD, and EMS, and discussed this topic with them actually pretty recently. And a lot of the speed humps and tables that are being installed are on arterial streets by HDOT. And these are busier, and they're kind of main streets that to get to and from most destinations and closest to fire stations too. So there is the speed hump and more of the neighborhood streets are less impactful because there are less EMS and HFD services going through those. Not to say that there are none, but we do in our concept designs, we have options of either a traffic circle or a speed hump. So please give us your feedback on that. If you would rather the traffic circle than the speed hump, that's good to know too. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Trees. I'm all for the native Hawaiian trees as they are native. And we're gonna move towards Thomas now.
Maybe my name is Thomas Beck. I live on Beckley Street. To mirror what the previous gentleman had brought up, if we were to lower Beckley Street, there's only one drain on Beckley Street, Kalihi and Beckley. There's no other drain. If you lower the street and put speed bumps, you create puddles. I talked to one of the engineers from the city about that, and they said the same thing. And right now they're not planning to even put in any drain system because of the cost and the fact that, like the previous gentleman said, the street is not wide enough because there's parking allowed on the Malta side of Beckley. They may have to eliminate that to put in a drainage system, but until they do that, I think there needs to be more study on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any further questions from the community? We're gonna have to move it along.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Senator.
Hello. I just wanted to follow up on Curtis's questions about the trees, and just to make sure that you don't put trees that have flowers that fall on the road. I get a lot of calls from constituents, especially Kalihi Valley, Wanalo, who's going to sweep it up, and they keep sweeping it up, and it's causing problems with leaves and so forth. So I'm not sure what kind of trees you can put up there. We certainly want them, but the roots and the leaves falling, the flowers falling all over and causing a mess. So and then it doesn't get maintained. And then the trees grow, and then it touches the electric wires or the telephone wires, and then it calls about that. So if you guys can do something about that, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, we're working with Parks and Rec to see their recommendations based on your these considerations. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much, Kaylin. And we'll circle back next time. Thank you so much. Moving along, another presentation, 10-minute maximum for the presentation, Jay Egusa or Kent Jang, City and County of Honolulu Transportation. Please, hi, go ahead, I can hear you.
Yes, hello everyone. Good evening. I am Kent Yang. Let me just share my screen real fast. Share. Okay, can everyone see my PowerPoint?
No, you can see your screen, but not the PowerPoint.
Okay, let me try again. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me a second. Hold on. Is there an option to share a PowerPoint on here? All I see is Chrome tabs.
Press share screen and press entire screen,
Entire screen.
and then go
Okay.
go to your presentation.
Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, can you see the
Perfect.
PowerPoint
There we
now?
go. There we
Okay,
go.
perfect. Okay.
Good.
Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so again, I am Kent Yang. Here with me is online is also Irene Banau. We're with the Transportation Mobility Division of the DTS. So the purpose of this presentation is that we're here to inform the public on the recently updated 2025 Title VI program for the City and County of Honolulu's public transit system, which includes the bus and the handy van. And then all interested people who are invited to express their views on this program. And at the end of this presentation, I will share the link of where you can view the whole draft. Okay. Introduction. So, Title VI legislation prohibits discrimination against race, color, and national origin. As a recipient of federal grants, DTS is required to prepare a public transit Title VI program every 3 years that complies with Federal Transit Administration Title VI program requirements and guidance to demonstrate that public transit services are provided in a non-discriminatory manner without regard to race, color, and national origin. The Title VI program is an ongoing process, and DTS aims to continually build upon existing policies, procedures, and standards to improve transit services. And this draft report that we're sharing with all neighborhood boards includes information on procedures for filing, receiving, and addressing any Title VI discrimination complaints, public participation plans and processes, language services for limited English proficient persons, or LEP. And if you're curious of what the LEP languages are, we made translations for specifically Tagalog and Ilocano, so Filipino languages, Japanese, Chinese, and a Micronesian language called Chuukese. So we did this survey back in August 2021 to January 2022 to identify what the most frequent languages used are on the bus. Okay, and then also we talk about the facility, the site location with regards to Title VI, and specifically for fixed route operations, we include information on demographic data, major service and fare change policies, and equity analysis, and service evaluation for our 121 routes that are included in this program from early 2022 to 2025, addressing all service standards and policies. Okay. All right, so here is a map of Title VI and EJ block groups. So the 2020 data that we collected was conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau. And this data is from 2020, so it's done every 10 years by the U.S. Census. And the data used in creation of this map was by the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, or OMPO. They are an agency created by the Federal Service Transportation Assistance Act of 1973 to provide local elected officials input into the planning and implementation of federal transportation funds to metropolitan areas with populations of greater than 50,000 people. Oahu, or even the whole state of Hawaii for that matter, is pretty special because we are a majority minority state. So the data collected by the US Census is interpreted in a methodology developed by DPP, or the Department of Planning and Permitting, and OMPO through the use of settlement patterns. And it's not necessarily taking every specific racial makeup of each census block like you would do in the mainland. For example, not every neighborhood that, for example, could be majority Asian, mean that that area would be considered a minority area on that map. But there may be some. There is a bit of a statistical formula and other factors that they use to calculate who is considered a minority in the area. So low income as well is also counted in a very careful way. But generally, areas with many low-income housing tend to have low-income areas identified in this map. So in conclusion, just to make it simple, the data is just a representative of what areas need attention in respect to the many types of people and income groups that live there presently. Okay, slide 5. Okay, so Title VI program fighting. So what we found, and we have collected data here, touch on these subjects right here. So vehicle load, and that basically is the purpose of like how many, when we address overcrowding for that matter, what is acceptable. So the DTS standard for that is no more than 10% of annual passenger miles that will address overcrowding. And if there is, DTS will evaluate the route, and if it doesn't meet it, we will fix it. Vehicle headway is basically the frequency of buses, how often they come in that time. On-time performance, it's pretty obvious, are they coming on time? And besides like road lane closures, detours, or construction, those things are included in the data. Service availability, the standard of a bus route that is within a half-mile radius for 80% of the population. And what we found out was that it was met for Title VI and EJ standards with 99% and 99.8% populations. Amenity distribution. Generally, Title VI and EJ and non-Title VI and EJ routes have comparable distribution of amenities. So all our bus stops are all dependent on the ridership, and that we found is quite equitable amongst every bus route and bus stop. And lastly, vehicle assignment. Generally, our vehicles on average are about 11 to 12 years old. Okay. So the next steps that we want to hear from you is that from March to April, the end of April, is a comment period. Whatever thoughts that you guys have, whatever thoughts that you are thinking in the future, we want to hear from you. The deadline will be May 1st, and we hope to submit this to FTA to get it approved so we can continue to get federal grants that will help projects to be built. Okay, and if you have any more questions or comments, feel free to call me, leave a voicemail, or email thebusstop@honolulu.gov, and I will leave the link to where you can download the report. The report is about more than 200 to 300 pages, so it's a lot of reading, but it is very interesting stuff that you'll find out. Other than that, awaiting your questions. Please let me know.
Ready?
Yes, sorry. So you mentioned federal grants and funding. Have you currently stopped receiving any of the federal grants that have already been awarded, and do you anticipate receiving future grants after this?
As far as I know, I am not sure what grants have been stopped or anything. We still do receive federal grants. So with the current administration, specific grants, I would not know about that, but that's something that's a good question that we should get back to you guys on.
Thank you for the presentation. I have two things. So one of the things that was, because it's DTS and we're talking about buses, and it kind of coincides with the four-way stops that I was trying to get to, by Farrington. How would you kind of work, amongst yourselves, or I actually just want to reemphasize bringing that up there, where the buses they'll come on time, but the traffic lights, and because students are there, some will transit, others won't. But then you have buses that have absolutely nobody inside that are leaving, and it's just a waste of efficiency. So is there some way that we kind of address that, or that be part of the comments or so? Because I've seen that when at Farrington where school's over and that bus is on one side, students on the other side, and that bus is gone. Doesn't wait. I know that it's trying to get to other stops, but if it's not picking up students, then it's not being efficient in what it needs to do in transporting people.
Right. I see the understanding, and there's a misconception that if it's an empty bus, it's not doing its job. Actually, you have to look at the whole route. So there are some bus stops that are not going to be serviced all the time because there's just no riders there at the moment. But throughout the hours of the day, sorry?
This is bus route 1. Before we had a bus that went through there, which would this is the only bus that goes on King Street. It is a trunk line, but I've been trying to get also a 24-hour route like the 2, for example, that goes up on School Street. But it would be nice to have kind of that kind of viewpoint when looking at the 1. The 1 is the only one that goes on King Street, that goes the full length. So that is why I want you to strongly consider that or bring that up to those that can.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Let's evaluate the cars.
Sorry, I thought I heard something online. Yes, I have both comments, just mainly comments. I don't know if I made it aware to the public, but I am diagnosed as autistic and ADHD. So I ride the bus pretty much every day of my life. And there's a lot of concerns when taking the bus, both mentally disabled and also hearing from a lot of physically disabled people. Mentally disabled, it is really hard because sometimes the bus is too loud, the lights are very draining. By the time I get, it may not seem like a lot, but as I mentioned, just because it doesn't seem like a problem to you is a problem to many of us. And just because we're a very small population in your eyes does not mean that we are still included as a population. So the lights are too draining. It's mentally draining that by the time I'm somewhere, I fall asleep. I'm too tired because it's too draining. The noise sometimes gets me distracted. A lot of people use noise canceling headphones or noise cancellation earphones like I do. I wear a lot of AirPods with noise cancellation, but sometimes it's not enough, and not a lot of people can afford that, or they're not diagnosed without even knowing. So I hope that you have more universal access with mentally disabled people in mind. And also with physically disabled people, I have had stories where people told me they had to pop a wheelie off their wheelchair just to get off the bus or just to get on the bus. And it's like, why are you having such a hard time just getting on or off? That should not be a problem in the first place. I don't know if this is a problem with Complete Street or the bus itself, but it could be a combination of both. And lastly, there's not a lot of bathrooms that are open to the public. I think the only bus stop that I have seen taking the bus is Waipahu Transit Center, where it is open to the public. Not only is it not sanitary, but it's pretty much the only one. There's not a lot of bathrooms for us to use. And that's pretty much our only chance of using the bathroom in some places. And I also want to mention that there are some employees that may need to be more trained when it comes to working with some disabled people, because there are some where they might have outbreaks or they may have problems being on the bus. They may make noises, they may stim. It's normal, but not a lot of people understand that. And next thing you know, they tell us, be quiet, get out. It's nervous. It's tiring being disabled. And many of us have multiple reasons of taking the bus. We may not have license. This is our only accessible way of transportation. It's a lot. So I hope that you take some, this is too little for me to talk about. So I hope there's more conversation with more disabled communities. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you for your comments.
Right, Curtis is online. Go ahead.
Yes, Ken, thank you so much for the presentation. So the, this is my first time at the Kalihi Pālama board, but I was just wondering, has the bus or DTS presented, or even the rate commission presented to the board about the proposed changes to the bus fare, not only the increased, fares and passes for adults and youth, but also the proposed surcharge for cash users of the bus. I was wondering if you could speak to that, just because um, I mean, the bus hasn't gone fully, I guess, digital with the Holo card, but um, you know, I'm just trying to wrap my head around why is the bus charging extra for people who use cash? Because Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of
Right.
1964, right, prohibits the discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, etc. And when it comes to making public transportation equitable for everyone, I feel that penalizing people for using cash, and cash still is accepted, across many bus and public transportation systems, across the U.S. So, why is the Honolulu Rate Commission making these proposed changes that would hurt, many people?
Yes, yes, Curtis, that was a great question. So, to answer your first question with the rate commission, so they do have public meetings that you can go to. So if you go on the city and county Honolulu and you type in Fair Rate Commission, they have dates where you can participate. As far as like them presenting in front of neighborhood boards, I'm not sure when they do that. That's something you should contact them directly. There's a different section, not my department, not my section. But yes, so with regards to cash, I have done research it myself that yes, indeed, you are right that cash is very essential, especially to people of low income. They rely. Cash is still king, right? So why we're doing that, or why they're thinking about doing that, is that it's getting more expensive to collect cash. When you put in those dollar bills, when you put in coins, it takes a lot of labor to get them out and to count them. And so they're trying to incentivize people to use their Holo cards. And to do that is that they'll have more stations or have more availability for you to recharge your Holo card. And the digital route is on the way. We're going to that part. It's just hard to implement it and to get the technology to Hawaii. I know in the world, especially in the mainland too, they have that technology, but in Hawaii, we always get things last. It's always, we have to go through bureaucracy. We have to go through the vendor, the lowest bidder, and there's a lot to it.
Thank you very much. I'll make sure to keep posted on the rate commission meetings.
Thank you, Curtis.
Alrighty, Ken, I think we're gonna move it along now, but thank you so much. And please do
Thank you,
come back
everyone.
again. There's a lot of information to be shared, so I'm gonna be inviting you sometime soon to come back.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're gonna move along to city elected officials, starting with Mayor's Representative, Deputy Director Stephen Courtney, Department of Information Technology.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Again, good evening to the Kalihi Pālama Neighborhood Board, members and residents. My name is Stephen Courtney, the Mayor's Representative and Deputy Director for the Department of Information Technology. I will start with some highlights from the Mayor's newsletter from April 2025. That link, along with other information, can be found in the chat. Mayor Blangiardi's town hall meetings across Oahu returns for a third year in a row. The closest one for Kalihi residents will be Town Hall number 6 on Thursday, May 22nd at 6:30 p.m. That's at Radford High School. The Neil S. Blaisdell Community Center Concert Hall opens after a $10 million renovation project. The Department of Parks and Recreation begins the annual push to hire staff for the city's Summer Fun program. The city commemorated Okalea's 50th anniversary at Kualoa Regional Park on March the 8th. The Honolulu Charter Commission members were sworn in for the decennial review for the city charter on March 24th. And residents can now download HNL Alert, the city's new alert system for natural disasters and emergency situations. Go to hnlalert.gov to create an account, or for a quick subscription to get urgent notifications only, text HNL Alert to 888-8777. In regards to the 2025 neighborhood board election, voting begins next week on Friday, April 25th, and ends on May 16th. Departmental issues follow-up. Homeless concerns in the Iwilei area. Resident Dale Kruppa noted that last week in the Iwilei area was better as it eliminated all the encampments in the area. However, they are slowly coming back as there's one tent on Sumner Street by Nimitz Highway. DCF responded, being that Sumner Street is persistently inhabited by homeless, the Department of Facilities Maintenance Road Maintenance Division has increased their cleanups in the area with more frequency. And HPD, Honolulu Police Department, and the Department of Facility Maintenance Store Property Ordinance Team are aware of the homeless encampments in Iwilei area. The area is addressed weekly on Mondays as part of the stored procurement of the Stored Property Ordinance Enforcement Team effort in the Kalihi area. Homeless concerns on Aoiki Street. Member Cullen noted that there are new homeless individuals around Aoiki Street. The Work Hawaii Division of the Department of Community Services was tasked to address and provide outreach services in the area. The Honolulu Police Department and the Department of Facility Maintenance Store Property Ordinance Team are aware of the homeless encampments in the Aoiki Street area. This area is addressed weekly on Mondays as part of the Stored Property Ordinance Enforcement in the Kalihi area as well. And lastly, in regards to the diesel generators in the Iwilei Kalihi, the residents would like to know what alternative power sources or long-term solutions is the city considering to use instead of the diesel fuel generator. DCS, Department of Community Services, responded, the Kahali project called Alana Olapono in Iwilei is a state project. They had to weigh the differences between opening up and bringing people off the streets or wait until electricity was installed. Applications and installations to HECO can take some time. The state felt that it was better to house someone off the streets as soon as possible, so the decision was made to set up a temporary generator solution. That said, the installation is planned and should be done shortly, approximately 3 to 4 weeks. Finally, if you have any issues to report to the city, please use Honolulu 311, and hno.info is your one-stop shop for updates from the city. That concludes the mayor's report. Mahalo. Are there any questions from the board?
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community?
Chair, just one item to add to Stephen's presentation. I'm Kevin O'Shea, I'm the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Housing.
Hello.
And I'm piggybacking on Stephen's report, just to share that the city's recently issued a request for qualifications seeking a development partner for the Iwilei Center site. And those proposals are due on April 30th. And so once we receive those, we'll evaluate those and potentially select a development partner. And once we do that, we'll come back to the board report on where we're at.
I'm gonna have a question for you right now.
Sure.
Peter Savio.
Yeah.
Are you working with him?
We actually worked with Peter on a project in Aiea on the Verona shipping stuff.
Yes. I do support him and I do support affordable living to make sure that future generations and the generations here and now.
That's our job.
Perfect, thank you so much.
That, just a note, that project will support potentially 500 to 700 units of housing.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Stephen. Curtis.
Curtis has a question. Go ahead, Curtis.
Yes, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the city for repairing the sidewalk by Home Depot on Alacala Street. And also in regards to Alacala Street, can DTS first repaint the median? The lines on the road are fading. And second, can DTS look at potentially having a left turn dedicated signal for folks turning into Costco, traveling Mackay on Alacala Street? Just because, you know, that place around Costco gas station always backs up, right? And it's just, it creates a huge traffic jam along with, you know, the rail construction and, you know, people, you know, turning into Costco are all backed up because of the oncoming traffic. So it would be really nice if DTS could look at, you know, maybe a traffic study or repainting of the area, just so it's easier for traffic to flow and create less congestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Any further questions from the community? Hearing none. Thank you so much, Stephen. See you next month. Okay, moving on to Councilwoman Reading Cordero.
Hi, Rita. The outfit is given.
Thank you for being here.
So it's kind of hard to hear online, so I'm just going to speak a little bit louder. Is that okay?
Fantastic.
Good evening, everyone, and happy belated birthday to board member Josemaine. Sorry, don't want to say your last name. Josemaine.
You too, sis.
Yeah, thank you.
When you're younger.
30, and thriving.
Yes. Happy birthday. Okay, so hi everyone. Sorry I was late. We had a council meeting and then I also had to get interviewed by OUs now. So, but first off, I was so glad to hear the presentation regarding the Safe Streets for All. You all have been with us on this journey from Oahu Pedestrian Plan to the Safe Streets for All grant, and then getting Beckley on it as well. So I definitely hear about the data for the pets. That is something I would love to follow up on. I also want to follow up on the native trees. When we were looking at trees to put along North King Street, we know that a lot of the concerns, I heard the concerns from Curtis about not having the roots go through the sidewalk, and we definitely mulled that over with DFM as well as Parks Department's Division of Urban Forestry. We did pre-just work going up and down King Street all along, looking at the different impacts of trees. Some native trees do kind of impact in that way, so we are doing more native trees at Farrington High School instead versus by the sidewalks. So we're hoping to kind of make that balance a little bit. So with that, we've been planting trees since December. We just planted trees 2 weeks ago at Farrington, and we're gonna have more throughout the years, hopefully. And so we're gonna see that through. Along with non-pollinated trees, that is something that we knew did not have too much of a high priority, but I know with Division of Urban Forestry, I'm always like scratching at my nose because I get bothered by the pollination too. So that is something we definitely talked about, definitely about the genders of the trees. So I actually didn't know that until recently, so knowing that, you know, way quicker than I did. As for working with Botanical Gardens, would love to definitely work with them on that to make historical thing, especially along Pālama. And I know when I grew up, when I was a small kid, Pālama Canal was my playground. So especially with like the white awnings or whatever it's called, terraces, I don't know. I used to play over there. So, and they had plenty of trees. So something, maybe finding a good place for that and working with Botanical Gardens for a place for that. So I love that idea. Never thought about that. Would love to take that on. Sorry, I just wanted to follow up to the things that we talked about today. But with the community concerns follow-ups, we have my reports online, hopefully. Oh shoot, I can't put on the chat Well, hopefully you have it.
We have it.
Oh, you have it,
We
okay.
online, it'll be shared.
Okay, perfect, thank you. In addition to the community concerns that's on my report, I do wanna add that I was down by below Nimitz on Kalihi Street and Hull Street and down by Sand Island yesterday, up in the different areas doing actually, me and my staff did two separate, we were both in the same area and we bumped into each other by Hull Street. So I was looking at it, and I know that board member Cullen isn't here, but I did a follow-up last month at this board to talk about how we received responses from the from DPP and the different violations that the property owner received. So on Kalihi Street, at the corner of Hull Street, they now have it fenced off. I didn't take a picture though. Sorry, I didn't want to be that creeper, but you know, promise, go down there and you'll see, okay? Then I do want to add for policy, my colleague Councilmember Dos Santos Tam is leading our budget as the budget chair. The budget process is going on, so please continue to share with your Kalihi City legislators. Our next amendments are due April 28th. Close of business, April 28th, okay? So any operating or capital budget. Next, I do want to highlight, I brought up at the different Pālama town halls. I've been trying to bring it up to our area legislators because I'm at like below ground level, starting at ground level, I'm like below it. I'm like -2 over here for this effort. This is to rename the designation of Sand Island to Maliola. I know that it takes a lot of money to change addresses, so just working, or I'm requesting the Hawaii State Board on Geographic Names to just designate that area around there as its name that we called it, and not Sand Island, but Maliola. Once again, not looking to change the addresses. I know that I mentioned our town halls. If you did attend, that we're having trouble to hear it, but I believe that the chair has told me that they don't want any, like, you know, Sand Island Business Association to be like up in arms about it. So working on it, having numerous discussions. That's part of the reason why I was also down there, just talking to the different businesses, popping in like, hey, does this bother you? Not trying to change the address or what, but you know, that's all. I do want to highlight some announcements on the last page and the second last page of my report. There's some announcements there, but the main thing is summer fun. We want to be able to accommodate the programs that the city parks offer, but we need junior leaders, we need, if you're retired, and you're looking for a job during the summer, or you love to work with kids, we just want to be able to, host more keiki at our summer fun sites. So please go to the either link at bit.ly/summerfunjob or call 768-3003 between the work hours of 7:45 to 4:30 on the weekdays. If you're interested to find out how to work as a summer fun leader, those will be from I'm sorry, I don't know, but just call them now for the next month or so. I hopefully have more information on that report. And yeah, I just wanted to make it quicker, so I
That
have
sounds good.
discussions.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community?
Yes. I have a question for you, Reedy.
Hi,
So
can
they
you,
can
can you,
just-
first the table, sorry, it's always for record.
Sorry, yes, Mr. Oh, yeah, you love to see me too, Jane.
The TV likes you.
Okay, so already. Way back when I sat on this board, that tree thing that you guys keep talking about was back then. The concern back then was who's gonna take care of the trees, who's gonna water the trees, who's gonna clean the trees. And then the thing that we came up with was, why don't we put more lights instead of trees?
Lights.
You know, the regular straight light posts, the green ones.
Okay,
That was the
so-
biggest concern there.
Thank you. No, those are very fair concerns, and that's why we're situating them. Our So first off, and I'm not trying to like make Farrington do all the work, which is why my office is also part of the schedule. We've made a schedule with a few, I don't know, their clubs and academies at Farrington High School to help not just me and them do it, but also the Division of Urban Forestry. The Division of Urban Forestry takes care of it, waters it more than Farrington and my office does, because we also do different trees in Makalapa as well. So we do that. As for the cleaning, that would then also be Division of Urban Forestry, but when it goes on the street, that would then be Department of Facility Maintenance. If it goes on the street, like the leaves and stuff, yeah. As for lights, placing lights, don't you think we have too many poles? Like honestly, like we have too much visual pollution.
We get rid of the poles, put all the lights under the ground.
Put lights under the ground.
But back then, okay, so like I said, when I sat on this board,
Yes.
that was the biggest thing about it. We all wanted to make King Street look beautiful, put all these trees up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's gonna cost the city more money to maintain it. So and then we talked about crime back then. So they said it was better to put lights up to deteriorate crime.
Okay.
And you know, in that area down by Richie's, there's a lot of crime.
I know. That's why that that bus stuff was removed. Not bus. I'm sorry. That
certain areas have certain needs.
Yeah, correct.
What,
So
what lights are you talking about?
yeah, what kind of
Post
lights?
lights?
Yeah, the green
lamp posts.
lights.
Yeah.
Might as well put a blue one to scare everybody.
Whatever. I just know when I
I
said
get
on this board.
PTSD sometimes watching the
Yeah,
blue
no, I
light.
get PTSD when I see
So I
the
slow
blue light
down.
too. So I have to say I haven't introduced it yet. Stop trying to like. Okay, well, whatever. I guess people will hear about this when I introduce this resolution, but I'm trying to have those mobile camera, what's it called? Thingy bobbers that you see at Lowe's with the blue light thing in certain street areas or
But on my street, if you don't want to see speed humps, put the blue lights.
Okay,
Everyone slow
alright.
down.
Well, we'll see.
Suggestion.
Becky don't
So I
have
tell them
enough
that-
for that.
I could put them
At
on
the
myself.
park, so the thing is, at the park, maybe by the edge, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
You
sorry.
gotta go.
So sorry.
Okay, just wait, one quick comment. I feel like trees are eroding, like
Oh,
eroding the
eroding?
streets, erosion and everything.
Mhm.
And then the lights are too much light pollution, too much electricity, even if
Yeah.
it's solar panels, that's expensive. So
It
it's,
is.
I don't know, like what what's a good balance?
So, certain areas have certain needs, yeah. And so that's why I wanted to be careful with the trees we chose when we started planning it. I just want to say that last part. Thank you.
Alrighty.
And I know we're almost done, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. And then we're gonna move along with Councilmember Tyler Dos Santos Santos.
Aloha Chair, aloha Board.
Aloha.
Okay,
Go ahead.
thanks. I hope everyone will join me in wishing a belated happy birthday to Councilmember Cordero, who just had her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, Councilmember is the budget chair, and today was the second reading of budget bills by the full council. So you can find more information about the city council budget process, including the significant dates going forward, if you go to the council website. I'm going to put that in the chat after I complete my report. And so you know when you can weigh in and how to follow. The sidewalk dining bill was signed by the mayor, so that makes that pilot project now permanent. And the significance is real. That allows local restaurants to create these outdoor dining spaces, which also will bring more positive activity and foot traffic to to Chinatown and our other communities. So we're very excited about that. Lastly, the Emergency Management Reserve Corps, the EMRC, is actively recruiting volunteers. So trained emergency management reservists are assigned to field operations in one of 8 geographical districts on the island, or as amateur radio communicators for the Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Services. So if you or someone you know might be interested in this program, there's a volunteer interest form at the website, and I will put that in the chat as well. And I wanted to be brief because I know it's getting late. So if anyone has any questions that I can take back for the council member, I'm happy to do that.
Board? Any questions from the community? Hearing none, thank you so much, Lynn.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha, see you next month. Moving along, Community U.S. Army Garrison is not here, the report is in. State elected officials, will start there. Carl Rhodes, or representative. Peyton?
Yes. Hi. The Hawaii Department of Agriculture has created an information sheet to address frequently asked questions about the little fire ants. I've attached this to my report. Senator Rhodes introduced Senate Bill 405 relating to neighborhood board meetings. The intent of SB 405 is to allow neighborhood boards to receive and discuss information from third-party reports by a government official not included in a publicly noticed agenda, provided that decisions on matters raised by third-party reports shall be made at later meetings preceded by a public agenda giving notice of the decision-making. SB 405 is still alive, and hopefully both the Senate and House can come to an agreement on the language of the bill in order to pass it to law. The Hawaii Department of Health State Laboratories Division confirmed a case of measles in an unvaccinated child on a water. The best protection against measles is the MMR vaccine, so please make sure you're up to date on your vaccines. Please don't hesitate to call our office at 808-586-6130 with questions or concerns, or email us at senroads@capital.hawaii.gov.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community? Hearing none, thank you so much. Moving along to Senator Donna Mercado Kim. Sorry.
Aloha, good evening, everyone. You have my committee report. It was emailed to you. I just wanted to highlight a few things in it. We are in the final weeks of the legislature, yay. We end on May 2nd. We are now in the conference committees. This is where the bills that are similar, or the similar bills, both the House and the Senate, that we have disagreements on, this is where we iron it out in the conference committees. And once it passes that, then it goes up for final vote and then to the governor. Also, highlight the information regarding tree trimming. I talked about that earlier in my question. A lot of people are calling regarding their concern on fires getting started, and one way is when the trees touch the electrical lines, that would happen. And so if you notice any trees touching electrical lines or telephone lines, please, the information is on my newsletter that I put out, where you can call Hawaiian Electric website, or you can contact HECO directly, or you can reach out via Facebook at Hawaiian Electric, and your inquiries will be routed to the proper division of HECO. A couple bills that are of interest that you might still be interested in: the fireworks bill, Senate Bill 227. This establishes illegal fireworks enforcement division, is still alive. The sports wagering bill 1308 is still alive. In fact, it passed the Senate with a clean date, which means it goes over to the House, and the House just has to agree to it, then it'll go up to the governor. If they don't agree to it, then it'll die. Let's see, Senate Bill 1216 relating to transportation, and this will reduce noise pollution from vehicles, strengthens the regulations against noisy mufflers and exhaust systems, as a lot of people complain, wake them up in the middle of the night. Also, I contacted, as I let the chair know, contacted HPHA, and they will be attending your May meeting. So we have that scheduled. And I wanted to also report that Representative Templo and I met with HPHA, with Hakeem and Ben Park, and we discussed all of the issues that was raised. And also Representative Templo followed up with questions, which they answered entirely. So I'm sure she'll go over that with you as well. Let's see, Farrington High School is having a rummage sale this Saturday. So if you have anything to donate, the rummage sale is from 8 to 12 noon at the Farrington High School cafeteria, if you want to go to that. And I do want to say that Barrington's also having a breaking on May 30th for the new gym. Yay! Finally, after all these years. So, you know, I being an alumni, we have to do the field and the lights, and now we're finally gonna do the library, gonna fill in the pool, we're going to do the gym, so we're really excited about that, so.
In the 90s.
If you're wanting to do stuff, there's a lot of things going on at the Kalihi Pālama Library, it's included in my newsletter, so I won't take up more time. If there's any questions, happy to answer.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community? No? Not hearing none, thank you so much.
Great, thank you, good night, everybody.
For all your hard work. Thank you so much. See you next month.
See you then.
See you, Senator Glenn Wakai or Representative.
I don't see no rep.
No rep, okay. Moving along, Representative Shirley Templo.
No rep.
No rep, okay.
Daniel Holt, Livingston.
Daniel Holt.
No rep.
No. Okay, we're going through the list. Governor Josh Green or Representative. No Durant. Gordon. Residents and community concerns, 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
Right here.
You can have a seat in the front here at the table and you can state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Zelka Harness. I've been going to the community meetings that they've been having with the representatives. The first one that they had was at Intermediate School that was based off of the Kaufman housing projects that they were going to do. The second one that I attended was Intermediate Schools and all their projects that they're projecting. One thing I noticed when I went to these is that they want to go vertical in Kalihi. So some of the project drawings I've seen for Ka'ahumanu is the housing right across the Farrington High School, kind of projects like the building might be as high as KPT. It concerns me because the way they had made it look, it reminded me of Kaka'ako. Modern, upbeat, beautiful. And you know, I grew up in Kalihi. My dad was here, my grandparents before they were part of Kalihi. And I don't want to see another town moving into the Kalihi area. We're part of a community that brought people together from different origins and at different timings of their life. But we always was kind of it was an interim place. People moved here because of the housing. They got themselves together, they moved out in other communities. But one thing that was always consistent is you always had a lot of families that were here like for many years. And when you are down by Sand Island, you look up and you can see the mountains. And as you go up on Kalihi Street, you still see the mountains. After that meeting at Kalakaua Intermediate School, there was a beautiful rainbow that came out right over there going up towards Likiliki. And I thought to myself, wow, if that high rise comes up by Kalakaua right across the Farrington, we're not going to see that mountain. And slowly as time goes on, with the projects that Community School wants to try to implement, they too have some high rises that want to come up by Kapalama Canal side. And eventually our horizon for our area will change. And it won't be a community-based area like we are now. And I think that's the part that, you know, I know housing is important and we do have a lot of homeless people, but we cannot take care of everybody. That's, you know what I mean? A lot of our own families have moved away because they can't afford. And who's going to be living there? People that's coming into our area, and we cannot take care of everybody. But I feel, and what I'm going to work on, is a height restriction for our area. So my plan that I want to do is that I want to have a height restriction from Honolulu Gardens. I'm hoping to encompass by Mayor Wright housing, but that's already gone because Mayor Wright's already going to have a high rise And they call it mixed income housing. So they say that they're gonna accommodate low income, and then they're also gonna sell condos there too. So a lot of the people that came to these meetings were people from the housing area that were concerned in reference to whether or not they would be able to afford to get back in, or when it's completed, if they're gonna be still alive to go back. Or when they're moved out, that they're moved out to somewhere that they don't wanna be at. So the changes that they're implementing, I think it's gonna change Kalihi a lot, and I just wanna be more active so that I can watch and see and monitor that we don't come downtown, that we still stay urban neighborhood that we've always been throughout the years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online? Any else from the community?
Just gonna add for that, if you want more updates about any developments that are going on right now, there's a really good Instagram account called Kalihiverse, Verse. It is from Demiliza Samarasong. I don't know if I'm saying her last name. There we go, thank you. And she's currently doing her PhD dissertation on the developments that are going on in Kalihi and how it's getting further gentrified. So I highly encourage people to read some of her research that she's done on Kalihi. It's been extensive. I love
Is
reading
that inclusive of the towers at KPT?
So I think she is including that.
There's a
in her
couple of
research.
buildings coming up.
Right.
Maybe not our side, but that is near Whitebrook Housing.
Right.
Pālama. That's gonna be a high rise.
Yeah, she has been adding that. She's adding so much things to her research KBT with the like how they're doing Pālama Canal to have bridges over the canal so it can become more walkable. How rail is involved with this project. It's an extensive project, and I highly recommend people to check out Kalihiverse or even contact her if she does have the availability to do so.
She's great. Thank
She's
you for sharing that,
amazing.
Art. Can we move along if there's nobody else?
I have one more question. Sorry. Just to the high rise, yeah? Because I work construction. So, and I've talked with a lot of city council members, mayors, and this is one of the biggest things that we always bring up when we interview them. When they say they're gonna build this and it's affordable housing. What's affordable? None of us can afford 800-something. That's the biggest thing. You can like I had 10 Dallas Santos, the biggest guy that ever never calls me back. You can call him, I'll call him myself. But everyone that I interviewed, because they all come to operating engineers, yeah? So, and that was the biggest thing that we always talked about, affordable housing. They build all these high rises, say it's affordable. What's affordable? Right? So,
I don't know if you're trying to convince me.
I mean, you can at least talking because in the chair, right? Yeah.
I've had that conversation many times over the decades.
Yep.
With the carpenters, with the masons,
Mhm.
the laborers, and so forth. And this is going back to more than 20-something years.
Yes,
You don't have to
Yeah.
convince me.
So, you know what I mean? So it's irritating.
Kaka'ako, I did not agree with.
Everything is,
I didn't
they
agree
always
with it.
put everything in
If
Kalihi.
they wanna build, but we're gonna move on.
But we need to stop beating
But
stuff in Kalihi.
I'm sorry.
Everything they
This
put
is
in
the
Kalihi.
form,
I
this
think
is
we
the
all
form.
we're thinking. Yeah.
Like I said, I sit on this board way back then in the 90s,
We get
and that was
vacancies,
the
you know.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
We used to put everything in
So
Kalihi.
you never wanted Kaka'ako, so.
Nope, we didn't want to talk about it. We tried to put it in Hawaii Kai, but nobody wanted to put it in Hawaii Kai.
One more vacancy.
Okay, we're moving along, cause
I love it here.
it's almost
It's spicy today.
Randy.
Sorry, as far as affordable housing goes, like there's, formal federal programs in affordable housing, so if the project is an affordable housing project, it is targeted towards people from a lower income bracket. So like a mixed income project would have affordable housing components. A lot of Kaka'ako is not affordable housing, it was never advertised as such. There are projects and components that were, there are affordable housing buildings that were built in Kaka'ako as part of projects that the city got agreements out to developers from, which I think have benefited us. I also have to say, I think we need a lot more housing, and Kalihi is a good area for it.
There's a lot of push and pull.
Can I say that? Just real quick. So, even when I was chair at the time, every time that we always had people that come up, the question would always be, how would this benefit the current community? Always would be that question. Not just how would it benefit the community, is how would it benefit the current community? Because I've seen it where they'll take a community, move a bunch of people out, and then move, and this is a new community, right? That's why it was within that
Transitions.
Yeah, so that's why, we kind of keep that, that's how I look at it, the mindset of how do we benefit the current community?
Everybody has a say. Okay, I think, is that it?
Oh, please sign it.
Thank you. Residents, community concern, we're moving on to committee reports. Anybody from the safety committee has a report? Anybody from the education committee? Health?
Okay, please get your measles vaccinations. Measles outbreak is going on, and we have a few cases already here in Hawaii. We are currently 89.6% of people that are vaccinated, and in order for us to reach herd immunity, which is 95%, we need to reach 95% for herd immunity. Basically, that means that a lot of people are vaccinated. Even if they get measles, it's not gonna kill them, kind of thing. So it's gonna make us very less likely to get measles. So please get your vaccinations. It's not scary. There's very low stakes. It's for the betterment of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we are going to community resources and institutions. If there are any concerns about homeless individuals or groups in your neighborhood that need help, you can email CORE, that information, or call 808-768-2673 to ask for assistance. And now we're gonna go to board business, filling a vacancy, 2 at-large seats. Nobody's home is, no! Okay.
Sorry.
Hearing none, thank you so much. And then we have 3 absence notice. Eric,
Sorry.
you know,
Work is taking me away, I apologize.
I'm fine with that. I mean, is there anybody that wants to have any?
We're not fighting about it. No, just come, just keep it. No motion. No motion.
No motions? Okay, we're good. Moving it along. You're staying, thanks.
Yay!
Welcome back, you're here, okay. C, approval of minutes Wednesday, March 19th, any motion?
So moved.
Second? Perfect.
I don't know who did it.
Any corrections?
No.
No? Okay. Approved. Announcements, the Hawaii Public Housing Authority and Seneca is requesting anyone that needs further clarification and or had questions or concerns about the affordable housing move or processes of the towers in Kuhio Park Terrace, KBT, from the March 2025 Neighborhood Board meeting. Please attend our next Neighborhood Board meeting in May, which is the next Neighborhood Board, Kalihi Pālama Neighborhood Board meeting number 15 meeting is scheduled to be on Wednesday, May 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m. City and County of Honolulu and Hawaii Food Bank are partnering to fight against hunger. Neighborhood Assistant Zoidel Magwai will be collecting non-perishable goods at tonight's meeting. The Kalihi Pālama Neighborhood Board meeting 15 recordings can be seen on Olelo, channel 49, at the website and the following times: first Monday of each month at 9 p.m. and the second and fourth Thursday of each month at 11 a.m. Meeting adjourned.
Ahui ho, tayo.
So grab the, can you get the rest of those Japanese snacks, please?
Yes.